Unlocking modals. Reporting speech with mixed modal verbs for permission. Hello, language learners. Today, we're going to delve into a fascinating part of English language learning, and that is reporting speech with mixed modal verbs for permission. Specifically, we'll focus on the usage of allowed to and were allowed to. This may sound complicated, but don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll have a better grasp of these modal verbs and how to use them in reported speech. To start, let's talk about allowed to. This phrase is commonly used in English when we talk about permission. For instance, in direct speech, we might say, "My mom says I'm allowed to go to the party tonight." Here, allowed to means you have the permission to do something. Now, let's see how we can transform this into reported speech. Remember, in reported speech, we often need to shift the tense back. So if we take our previous example, it would become, "My mom said I was allowed to go to the party." Notice how "am allowed to" becomes "was allowed to" in reported speech. You might be wondering, what happens if the original sentence is in the past tense? Great question. Let's consider the sentence, "My mom said, you were allowed to go to the party." In this case, we would keep the past tense in reported speech and say, "My mom said I had been allowed to go to the party." It's important to notice the change in tense from "were allowed to" in direct speech to "had been allowed to" in reported speech. The tense shifts back, as we usually do in reported speech. Alright, let's practice this with a few more examples. Direct speech. My teacher says we're allowed to use a calculator on the test. Reported speech. My teacher said we were allowed to use a calculator on the test. And another one. Direct speech. My dad said, you were allowed to borrow the car yesterday. Reported speech. My dad said I had been allowed to borrow the car yesterday. Remember, it's all about shifting the tense back one step in reported speech. There you have it. We've just learned about using allowed to and were allowed to in reported speech. Keep practicing these patterns, and you'll be a pro in no time. As always, we hope this video has been helpful. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Happy learning!